are you better off than you were 4 years ago? When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid, and I am actually the
Welcome
only person
to
on the
Pegasus
stage.
versus the World, where we take on challenges, comedy, trending topics, and travel.
City boy, city boy.
All right, you guys. I know people get triggered at politics, but I don't know, man. Like, I just had to do it, at least on this channel, not on my music channel. So if you're not into politics, just don't watch this. And let's just disclaim this first. Politics is very, very divisive, okay? And I believe it's done like that on purpose to keep us divided, keep us separated. But this is the topic of debate, and I'm curious on what people actually do really think of last night's presidential debate. I'm going to skim through some of this because I thought it was interesting. Perception-wise, I saw a lot of people say Trump could have done better, and that I also saw a lot of people, because I have a huge left-leaning audience, especially on Facebook, and they're like, yo, Kamala cooked him. And I just saw it interesting. I could see why people said Kamala cooked him, or Kamala. I don't know how to say her name, Kamala. I thought it was Kamala Harris. But whatever. I don't really trip on none of this shit like that. But anyways, I digress. I do think Trump could have done better. I didn't feel like he was on. You know, he has these moments where he's on, and this is the issue too. Like, Kamala was really well rehearsed. She stayed on script. Like, and in comparison to Biden, she kind of put in work. But let's see some of these points real quick.
Who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people.
See, they talk a lot, but it's like you've been working with Biden for the last 4 years. That's the problem I have with Kamala Harris and the Biden admin, is that you have 4 years under Trump and 4 years under them, and you can look at what 4 years were better for you. I would personally say under Trump, it was just better, right? People always go back to the pandemic and say that, stifled the first part of Biden's, but it's just like, we're still having a lot. Like, I don't know if I can get through this whole thing, because there are some things that I just wanted to talk about and address and see what y'all honestly think. Again, I'm not like this political, like, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat. Like, I watch the shit now because I am 44 years old, and it always affects my taxes in my household, right? So let me give you an example. This year, my wife was pregnant 4 months ago. She gave birth. A month before she gave birth, we were kicked off Medicaid because I made a little bit of money, extra money on YouTube. Funny, right? So we get kicked off Medicaid a month before the birth and have to figure that out, just to find out that all of these people who are not natural citizens or citizens of our country are getting free health care. So I was like, that upset me. If I'm being real with you, that upset me. Now, I did make a little more money, so I understand why that happened, but I'm not like, when you have the crunch of healthcare, inflation, and groceries. So I was already triggered at 2020, especially the way Trump handled it at the beginning. Then he because he was the one who said, 15 days to slow the spread. I was not cool with that, right? Boom, we fast forward, but the Biden administration went even crazier. So I was already triggered with Biden and them from the offset, but I just try to be open, give them a chance. But I'm like, bro, like, this debate is interesting. I'm going to just play a couple clips and we'll just talk back and forth. Y'all let me know. I know there's going to be people who absolutely hate Trump in the comments and people who love him. I'm just over here seeing it for what it is, in my opinion.
And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy. Because here's the thing. We know that we have a shortage of homes and housing, and the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on extending a tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child tax credit that we have given in a long time, so that those young families can afford to buy a crib.
I don't believe her. I don't believe her. She talking a lot, but the thing is, I'll go back and forth and criticize because if you guys follow the spending trends of presidents and their admins, Trump spent a hell of money too. He spent mad money. He is not like when you talk about how effed up our economy is and things like that. He did good things for the economy that stimulated certain areas and it was good. But at the end of the day, the spending and the budget of America is out of control on both sides. That's just the truth. Let's see what young Don's saying here.
After 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world. And the tariff will be substantial in some cases. I took in billions and billions of dollars, as you know, from China. In fact,
this is above my pay grade. I don't know how well tariffs work or don't work, so I'm not going to argue that. I just... just from a simple man's point of view, like I seen what Trump's economy did for me and my family and the people around me, and I see what the last 4 years have been like, and it's an extreme difference. And if I had the chance to go back to the Trump economy, I don't know who wouldn't. There are some people I remember in the 2020 election, some of my friends, definitely left-leaning, were like, they were saying, I will pay more for gas. I will pay more for gas to get Trump out of there. Well, now we're 4 years deep. Gas is higher. Food is higher. Everything's higher. Are you still in that mind frame? Because these people that I'm talking about did not have money like, let's say I do, and I'm not balling. I'm middle class or trying to grasp to the middle class, right? Like I'm doing cool, but I'm not balling. And I just think it's interesting how these things play out. But yeah.
in fact, they never took the tariff off because there was so much money they can't. It would totally destroy everything that they've set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places. They've left the tariffs on. When I had it, I had tariffs, and yet I had no inflation. Few people have ever seen before. Probably the worst in our...
I think re-listening to some of this, I'm just going to start talking because there's no way I'm going through an hour and 40 minutes of this nonsense. One, I think he has a point. He did some things that they didn't reverse, meaning that it worked, right? And the thing, remember when they got in the White House and Biden signed all those executive orders and reversed a bunch of stuff Trump did? What was the first thing? The border and immigration stuff, from what I remember. They reversed a lot of different things, right? And I just think it's funny because when you watch this presidential debate, a lot of people are going to say Harris won because she was alert and assertive. But when you look at what she's saying, who wins, right? She's going to say Project 25, which Trump has denounced many times. So I thought that was interesting. I was like, okay, why do they keep saying Project 25 when he didn't write it? It's not his plan. I think it was the Heritage Foundation or something came up with it. That's the one where I'm like concerning because I know some big rappers. And I've heard some conversations behind the scenes. They're like, yo, but what about Agenda 2025? And I'm like, bro, that's not a thing, right? Like it has nothing to do with Trump. And like these dudes are big, have mad influence. And so I'm like, shit, this is weird. Like, bro, like why are people soaking this up? But then I see the establishment just keep saying it. And I'm just like, okay, that's interesting. The other thing is, so the border, they'll say, oh, we tried to fix the border a couple months ago, but the Republicans blocked it. I don't even care. I don't care. The reason the border's fucked up is because when you went into office, not her necessarily, but Biden reversed everything and then put her in charge of it. So when you come out and say, we're going to fix it, it's like, bro, no, you're not. No, you're not. Because it ain't fixed right now. And you guys are the reason it happened. The other thing is fracking. I'm hit or miss on that because I don't think fracking is necessarily the greatest for the environment when it is not done ethically and there's a lot of spills and spillage and wrecking towns, right? But at the same time, when we're talking about our economy flourishing, I think there needs to be balance. I think there needs to be balance with fossil fuel and electric energy. I'm not sold on electric energy the way everyone else is. And I'm not going to get into climate change stuff because we're on YouTube and they're weird about that. But all of this stuff is interesting because Trump did make a funny point. He's like, I'm about to give her a MAGA hat because she's definitely flipping on a lot of the subjects. And when when you see that, it's because they're losing on those subjects. Now, the subject she went hard on was abortion. And like she's here, women's rights and da-da-da. And this is what I think is interesting, too, about politics in America. We always talk about race, right? We always talk about the black vote, black voices mattering. And I think this is interesting because they said what decided and you guys let me know if I'm wrong, but they said what decided the last election was the white suburban housewife vote. Let me say it again. That's what, pushed it towards Biden was the white suburban housewife vote, which is interesting because when you talk about this, the issue of abortion, who is that dedicated to? And I was like, oh, that's funny because from what I've seen, abortion affects the black community the most. So it's just kind of ironic how these things work out. You're just like, okay, like I am just in this crazy world and people think I'm a nut for just observing these things. Now, I'm going to talk about the two places I think Trump went wrong. There's a part in this debate, I wish this had timestamps, where she asked him, what's your plan? And I forget what it was pertaining to, but he said, I don't have a plan. I'm not in office. I have concepts. I felt like that probably wasn't the best answer because of how much pressure and, boom baye they put on Trump. That, and then I think he has a point, but if you can't prove it in the moment, that's where it gets fishy. The pets. The ducks, the cats. I love it. I love it. The memes, like Trump saving the cats and the ducks, it's hilarious because what they're implying is that Haitians, right, have been, taking pets and cooking them and eating them, right? And there's these viral clips of that type of stuff happening, of cats, ducks. I think that's it because a lady, and he saw that and he says it. Now, who are the people who are running the debate? I forget. The moderators. They punch in. We're like, we talked to the mayor of Springfield. I think it was on Iowa, and there have been no reports of what you're saying. So I thought it was interesting because the moderators kept shutting certain points down from Trump. Okay, now just listen to me. I'm not tripping. Like if you love Trump, great. If you hate Trump, great. This is what's scary to me. The moderators would call him out for that. And in my point, I'm like, valid. If I don't have proof, if there haven't been, like, if it's not on paper, hey, this person got arrested, which it's easy to cover this type of stuff up. But it's like, hey, he got put in a position where he couldn't back up what he was saying with statistics. And in debates, a lot of times you want to back it up with statistics, right? So I've seen migrants in Colorado. The Venezuelans are running amok. Like they are running amok, but it's not all of them. I personally haven't seen them eating pets, right? So I understood what they did there. But let's be clear. The moderators called that out. Whether you believe migrants are cooking up ducks and cats on the sidewalk, they kind of shut them down on that. But when Kamala was saying stuff like Agenda 25, they didn't say, well, Kamala, the president has said 5 times, he's mentioned it on his social media sites, that he has nothing to do with Agenda 25, and you keep bringing that up. Do you see that? Like, go back and watch this. Watch this with open eyes and a clear heart. And this is where it gets scary, not because you want Trump to win or Kamala to win, because mainstream media is a mental hack. It's a mental hack. They want to tell you you're not seeing things you're seeing. What are the prices of food when you go to the store? What are the prices of gas when you go to the pump? What do your taxes look like? And what does buying a home look like? What do the streets? The streets in Denver are full of homeless that I've never seen. I've lived in Colorado since 1991. I'm seeing homeless people in areas that I've never seen homeless people before. What does it look like? But they will tell us. They said on here, they got in an argument with Trump, and I don't know how to prove him right or wrong. They said the statistics show there's less violence. There's less violent crime. I throw concerts for a living. We have dealt with so much bullshit in the last 3 years, and guess what? It's hard to get cops out to help. I see it firsthand. So everything I see, the mainstream media tells me I'm not seeing it. I throw concerts for a living, you guys. I've seen more violent things happening in the nightlife than ever before. But apparently that's not happening. Apparently it's not happening. I'm seeing, anyways. Okay, so that's where I get scared because they're so quick to call him out. Hey, they're not eating pets. Okay, cool. I'm going to give that to him. I'm not saying that's true. I'm going to just give it to him. Okay, cool. They ain't eating pets. I can't prove that. I haven't seen it. But everything I just mentioned, the average American has seen, unless you're rich in the suburbs. Bro, we got to live with this shit. I got to see all this shit, you know? So anyways, I thought Kamala actually did really good because anything like you have to remember these people for 4 years told us Joe Biden was coherent. He wasn't at all, ever. Now you see Kamala and you're like, oh shit, okay. How the fuck did they get away with Biden? How? They tell you things, and that's the problem I have. I think that's all I really wanted to say. I'm going to get off this. I ain't going to play all their points, go back and forth. I don't care who you think won or lost. I think the American people are losing right now. I think the American people are losing because of media, because of corporations, and because of greed. I don't believe all rich people are greedy. I don't believe all rich people are evil. It is the greed, the corporations, the media, and our politicians that are the biggest issue for Americans. They do not care about the people. We're in one of the wealthiest places in the world. We don't have to live like this, but these are choices being made. We're funding a lot of wars that I don't believe we need to fund. And that's for all sides of the spectrum. You know, we should be arbiters of peace, prosperity, networking, and business growth at this place where America's at with the power we have. But instead of shifting the financials from the war complex and the war industry to other things, we just keep funneling it there. Oh, it works, you know? And I just think it's ironic that they want to change fossil fuels to electric, but we can't change war to business infrastructure and networking and stuff like that. It's like, oh, war is too big of a business. We can't funnel that, but we can do electricity versus fossil fuel. We know fossil fuel is a great business. So these agendas are interesting. People are invested and the American people are losing. Period. That's how I felt about this debate. The other thing I wanted to say was no one's coming to save you. Trump is not going to save you. If Donald Trump wins, I think it's a better look for the American country as a whole. Like, I'm not into so the progressive stuff has leaked into the schools. We're homeschooling now. I'm not trying to talk to my kids about pronouns, people's sexual activities, etc., which that's what you have to start explaining when they get confused on certain ideologies that are being pushed. I have kids, you guys. I'm not going to be cool with that, right? Those are certain things that you talk later in life. And I just don't. So, you know, with Trump being on the side he's on, I gravitate to that a little bit more, right? A little more traditional stuff. There's stuff I definitely disagree with him on. There's stuff I mean, look at the way the pandemic was handled. Still, never, Fauci's never going to have accountability. He was the salesman for Pfizer. It is what it is, right? A lot of things I don't agree with Trump on, but I do think overall as the country, if we can get the economy right, again, he's not they're painting this narrative, abortion with him. I have my own beliefs and stances on abortion. I won't even get into. I don't actually. Yeah. I'm just not going to get into it because that one's. Actually, I will get into it. I don't believe in abortion. I don't think it's a good thing. I don't think the government should be able to dictate certain things. I believe life starts at conception. I believe people make hard choices. I do believe some people utilize it as, as almost a contraceptive. There's a bunch of things, but I'm not radical in the sense where I'm like, yo, take it away. That's just something where I'm like, Lord, you be the judge. I'm going to try to set the example and lead by example by doing certain things. But me and my wife had 2 stillborn births. I saw my son at 6.5 months still, and then my daughter a little under 6 months. And just seeing that and going through that process, I can't be in my right mind and be okay with abortion. There's a lot of trauma that women that get abortions have to deal with. There's a lot of things that are deeper than just, people say women's health and women's rights. Again, when I say this, we're not talking about the M word or the R word when that happens to women. Like, that's pretty obvious. Like, they should definitely be able to do that. I'm not saying they shouldn't be able to have one in general. I'm saying my belief system and principles don't believe it's right to have those, right? Unless it's life-threatening, if the M word or the R word happened to a woman, understandable. But but again, I'm not here to judge people. Like, I'm tired of, like, I don't know, man. That's why this shit is divisive, right? Because it's like, just because I have a stance that I don't think something's right, the feminists and the women are going to go crazy. And I don't even think it's their right to do. It's a parent right. It's not a woman's right. It takes 2 people to make a kid. So why do we keep saying it's women's rights? We're taking women's rights. It's 2 people decided to lay together, man. It's 2 people. It's parental rights. That's what it is. So I don't know. But anyways, I think they're trying to blow that out of proportion to get the suburban housewife vote on the side of the left. But I think overall, the country would do a little bit better under Trump, but I don't think that matters. I think we're in a dark place in American history. I think we need to wake up, and Donald Trump's not going to save you, and neither is Kamala, okay? They're not going to save you. You got to get your life in order. You got to get your finances in order. You got to get your business in order. And there is strength in politics. Maybe some, average Americans need to rise in politics and create a real populist movement that's for the people so we could work on saving each other. But until that, we're going to be divided and this is the thing. Humans are going to be divided. We're going to have our own opinions. And that's fine. That's fine, right? Like, I try to be the best dad that I can. I make mistakes. I am human. I fumble the ball. Doesn't mean that, I get along with Democrats and Republicans. Period. Most of my homies in the rap game lean left. It's crazy. And sometimes I hear what they say. I'm like, damn, this person thinks that way. Oh, shit, that's crazy. Just let it be, man. I just let it be. It is what it is. People gonna be people. Anyways, I watched like 5 seconds of the first intro to dial y'all into this rant. I had to get this out of my system. I had to. Because I watch these things and I have to stop watching it. I got to just watch positive entrepreneurial videos because this is not it for your boy. This is so unhealthy and it brings me to these weird mental places that I don't even need to go. Anyways, let me know. Who do you think won the debate? What did you think happened? I see the right wing posting, it was 3-on-1, the moderators versus Trump. And then I see people on the left wing saying, yeah, Kamala cooked Trump. And then I see people on the right wing saying that Kamala lied. And it's funny because there's a little bit of truth to all of that. I think just Kamala standing up to Trump was a win for them. It was a win because you saw what Tulsi Gabbard did to Kamala. She steamrolled her. That's what Trump should have done. That didn't happen. So now you have a contender. You got a nice contender. So that's a win for them. This debate, she might not have won the debate, but this was a win for them because you had Biden up there, right? And then you got Kamala getting steamrolled by Tulsi Gabbard. So everyone was like, this is going to be a landslide. It wasn't a landslide. It wasn't. And you can't say it is. And yeah, the moderators were hating, in my opinion. Like the fact they'd call Trump out on a point and not her on multiple points. they did. They said, hey, you flip-flop on fracking. So I gave them that. But the Agenda 25 stuff, what else was there? Maybe J6. Like, I don't know, man. There's just some weird stuff going on. And I'm like, okay. But anyways, I'm getting out of here, man. F this, man. I just had to get that out of my system. Now I can laugh and watch some comedy.
City boy, city boy.